What's going on, guys? So I just finished Pokemon Pokopia, and this is a game that I just, in the first place, never imagined that I was actually going to get. Once again, I'll say it for the 1000th time, I'm not a Pokemon fan, and I'm not a life sim fan of games like Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley and stuff. It's just not my type of game. So why in the world would I pick this up? I don't know. I was curious. I seen everybody talking about it. And man, it is slowly growing into one of my favorite Pokemon games. I'm not big in the Pokemon series. I only played like a handful of the newer titles. But still, man, this game, oh my gosh, it's just captured me completely. And the story and ending to this game was so sweet, but also so sad. I just had to talk about it because, oh my gosh, what is this game that I'm playing? This is a casual video of me just kind of talking about the in-game experience. Now, if you guys really like this video and show a lot of support, then I will give you another video with my overall summary and thoughts and feelings of the game after I play a little bit more. So let's briefly talk about the story and what we're doing in this game. So you play as a Ditto that's been just kind of dropped on this island, don't know why, don't know where, how did you get here, but you're meeting up with other Pokemon, even a Professor Tangrowth, and you're pretty much just trying to find out what happened to the humans. You're trying to see if you can bring humans back and try to figure out where they are in the first place. So that's your goal within each of the 4 areas that you visit. For the first area with the wasteland, you're supposed to make it human. Let's get it human in here. You'll get it if you play the game. But yeah, you're supposed to pretty much just water everything so that everything that's dead can be grown back to life again. Then the cliffside, you're throwing a party, I guess, to bring the humans back. I don't know. Moving on. The beach area, you're pretty much lighting the area up. It's too dark. It's cloud coverage all over the place. Storms. It's just really bad. And maybe if you brighten it up, the humans will come back. And then for the 4th and final area, you'll be up in the mountains, up in the sky. And it's your job to grow and build this giant tower to maybe get the attention of the humans. In each of the 4 areas, you'll be visited by a legendary Pokemon that will kind of just walk up and say, "What's up, dog?" and then leave. It's pretty funny. But yeah, those are your missions. And in each of the areas, you'll have some other missions as well. For instance, one big mission would be to rebuild the Pokemon Center in each area. And also another big one is to grow your environmental level. Now, in order to beat the game, each area has to have an environmental level of 5 or higher. This is what took me a while. I'll get to that in a second, but I'll probably post a whole guide for that because I could not myself find the proper way to do this. Like, I actually needed my handheld for that part. It was a mess. But during your journey, there will be one side mission in the wasteland that you'll be visiting on and off, and it'll be this giant tower or fortress that speaks to you, and it tells you that you need to gather all these different materials and put it inside of the fortress in order to pass some initiation or something. You have no clue what it's for, what the point of it is, and this ends up being like the main area of the game with the main focal point. You just don't really know it yet. So you're just delivering goods to this thing and then going along your journey, and yeah, you'll just go through each of the 4 areas, doing all the missions that you can, finding as many Pokemon as you can, and pretty much just, building up these civilizations. I didn't do any of the building up these civilizations thing. I didn't want to do any of it. I wanted to wait until the end where I got all my tools, including the last transformation we'll talk about at the end of this video. So yeah, I just kind of went by just, building habitats, spawning Pokemon, and taking side quests in order to get through the story a lot faster. But the story and kind of the intriguing information that you can find surrounding the story all is tied to side documents, books, and little tablets that you can find that gives you little pieces of the story and what's actually going on. Now, when I first started this game, I pretty much just thought to myself, it's pretty simple, isn't it? There's some post-apocalyptic event, humans fled for some reason, and then the Pokemon are left back on Earth, and then maybe one day they'll come back, which is ideally the story, but nowhere near as simple as I thought it was. The story here is very dark and is told amongst like 3 to 4 different people that went through different things during this period. You will actually hear from environmentalists that have a plan to save the Pokemon, and you'll hear from professors, and you'll even hear from a famous hacker that helps to initiate this program for the Pokemon. But to make things short, pretty much the world is going through catastrophes. There is so much stuff going on, from hurricanes, violent storms, earthquakes, volcano eruptions, tornadoes, you name it, and it's affecting all of the regions. Now, this is all taking place in a post-apocalyptic Gen 1 Kanto region, which is pretty interesting, all the way back at the beginning, and this kind of shows what happened to that world after, you know, time went by and after thousands of years, it seems, and then the world just kind of broke and started decaying. It's crazy to even think about. Adding new deep cut lore to a game that came out 30 years ago when the game right now is just a spinoff made by Koei Tecmo that's a building game is so freaking absurd. Like I said, I've never played the classic Pokemon games. I didn't really grow up with them, so I didn't catch all the references. I know a lot of the names of the characters and stuff thanks to the anime and just people talking about them, so I got some of the references, but still, even for someone that didn't play the original games, this is crazy to me. Now, what caught me by surprise is that the Pokemon weren't just dropped into the world and everybody fled the planet. They still had a goal to flee the planet, but they couldn't take Pokemon with them, so their big initiative was to build this kind of online database where it could hold the Pokemon. I guess this is the in-game version of Pokemon Home. But yeah, it was called like Pokemon Live or Pokemon Life or Pokelife, something like that. But yeah, it was going to be this app that everyone could use and they could manage their own Pokemon in the digital world, keeping them alive in the digital world. So yeah, it's crazy, but what would happen is there'd be a failsafe. If it didn't work out, all the Pokemon would be released in the actual real world and have a chance to survive, and that's exactly what happened. That's why Pokemon are just randomly popping up. They're going from the digital world, I believe I'm getting this correct, from the digital world into the real world, which is crazy. And then that's how Ditto just kind of popped up. He was obviously with his owner had to leave him behind in that world, and this is where he woke up at, which is just kind of sad. But we also learned that Team Rocket actually had a major influence in the story here. They were still kind of the villains technically. They are the ones that actually built this giant facility that we are donating to in the Wastelands. And this fortress is not a fortress, it's actually just a rocket undercover. And all the supplies that they were bringing in was to help the rocket take off, so that way they can pretty much just save themselves. They did mention that they could be the good guys and get paid for it though. If they had some leftover fuel, they could give it back to the rest of the population, because what the general population was trying to do was everybody go up into space at one time, which is kind of crazy. It's a very risky thing to do. So Team Rocket was like, you know what, we're going to take our chances and just go up ourselves. It never happened. Yeah, one of the new hire grunts for Team Rocket was actually, I guess we don't really know. Some people had theories that he was still in the rocket. I don't believe so. The rocket's being filled with supplies, and you can even see that at the end. It's so full, it won't even take the party poppers you try to add at the end. So yeah, I believe this is just kind of a leftover recording of that grunt. He makes some jokes about the badges that he gives you and stuff, and he, tries to act like they're useful, and they're really not. I mean, honestly, I don't even know what they do in the game. Maybe they're just there as references from the original game. But yeah, this whole time you're pretty much filling up and preparing Team Rocket's rocket to go into space, which is pretty funny, But man, the grind at the end of the game was what was tough for me, because you have to raise that environmental level to level 5. And for most areas, it was around 3 or 4. And in order to do that, you had to keep finding Pokemon. Well, I didn't know that Pokemon would not keep spawning in those habitats that you've made until you move out a Pokemon from that habitat into their own home. I was building like thousands of the same habitat all over the regions, and nothing was spawning until I figured that out. I don't know if the game tells you or not. I don't remember it telling me, but I was so frustrated when I figured that out. So I immediately just started building these ugly little slop houses. I mean, look at these things, and then just slapping Pokemon in here. Like, enjoy your home. This is so bad. Now, I do want to take my time and make them actual homes and fully flesh out this whole area. I'm going to do all of the worlds, but it's going to take a while. These worlds are so big. They're so massive. So yeah, I want to wait to beat the game, and so I can get the special form at the end to help me build better and to unlock everything. So yeah, I just didn't want to get to the building yet. So I built these little slop houses just to get to the end, so I can spawn more Pokemon, do their little requests where they either want food, they want some toys in their house, or they want a reef. It's the same things over and over and over again. Once I figured out that method, it was just easy cruising from there. I was able to get to level 5 in each area and finally get the last couple of things that I needed in order to send the rocket into space. That's right, it's a rocket. It's not a fortress, remember, it's undercover. But one of the last things I had to do was to take a picture in order to put into the rocket. And I took this little selfie of the Withered Wastelands, the first area in the game, me in that first area, and everything that I built so far. And of course, I slapped that in the rocket and it took off into space. This whole story theming is so so much up my alley. Like, I love post-apocalyptic movies and shows and games. I mean, the story feels so similar to something like Kirby and the Forgotten Land or Splatoon 3. In fact, the entire Splatoon series. It's why I love the lore of Splatoon so much. Just like post-human, post-apocalyptic, you know, I love it so much. And this was such a sweet little ending. You get to see all the different areas you visited and all the Pokemon watching the rocket take off. But the rocket ends up going on an extremely long adventure throughout the credits. Like, humans have positioned themselves so far across the galaxy, it's insane. But the rocket finally reaches this space Pokeball shuttle thing, and an astronaut comes out. Now, this seems to be many years, like thousands of years after all these things happened on Earth and humans went into space. Now, this astronaut does have a Ditto plush in the window, so my first thought was, is this the trainer of the Ditto? Of course, it's probably not. It's been thousands of years unless they like carbon froze themselves or something to be this old, which I doubt. So it's probably just some member of a larger colony that we haven't seen that's just survived all these years. But this was just the message to pretty much tell them that, hey, Earth is inhabitable once again. We can go back. And it even shoots out the picture that you took and the astronaut's able to look at it. I wish it showed it one last time for us just to see it, even though I know what it was, but it's just such a sweet little sentiment thing that the astronaut gets to look at. It's pretty cool. I thought this was such a sweet ending, kind of sad, but also very hopeful for the future. Now it's our job to just keep decorating the world and, you know, making it even better so that when humans do come back, they can come back to a beautiful, newly built world, thanks to the Pokemon, which is such a really cool story. And then, of course, for completing the story, you get the Magnemite Magnet Rise form, which allows you to build like giant walls of bricks and stuff. It's so much easier in order to build houses and stuff, and this is kind of what I was waiting for. Allows you to also freely roam around so you don't have to climb everything. You can just fly up to somewhere that you want to go to. Yeah, this is going to come in handy. But man, when I'm looking at all these landscapes and worlds that I've already visited, I'm like, it's going to take me months, probably years, to get these worlds to look the way that I want them to. So yeah, I'm gonna be busy at least with the first world right now. I probably won't do them all right now. I'll probably take breaks in between each one. But man, this is such a fun game, dude. I've had such a blast with it, and I can't wait to give you guys my full thoughts on the entire game. But this was such an awesome story. I did not expect such a fun little story to be added to a game about building and decorating this world and, you know, reviving this lost world. Like, man, it's such a great story. I could keep going on and on and on about it, but hopefully the next mainline Pokemon game, Gen 10, actually has a pretty deep and interesting story, because ZA's story actually put me to sleep. I just could care less. But yeah, let me know what you thought of the story of Pokopia, if you liked it or didn't like it, and just let me know what your experience has been so far. As a non-Pokemon fan, man, I am loving this game. This is starting to be one of those games that I feel like you got to go out and get with your Switch 2, man. It's seriously that much fun. But I'll try to save all my thoughts for the next video. Let me know you really enjoy this video by leaving a like and subscribing. Let's see how many people we can get to subscribe from this one video. Maybe I'll do more Pokemon content in the future. But thank you so much for tuning in. Have a blessed day, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.